for YouTube. YouTube. Nothing but YouTube. Hello, everybody. It's Matt from RollClimbingBlog.com coming to you live from Independence of the Seas. Hopefully, the internet is better here. I have found the best source of internet I can on this ship. I hope it's okay. Glad to have you here. And thank you for joining us here on YouTube, as we do every Monday, hanging out with you, talking about the most important thing in the whole wide world, which, of course, is going on a Royal Caribbean cruise. And we're going to answer as many questions as we can today. Start with the most important question. How many days until your next Royal Caribbean cruise? Tap your countdown in chat. Let us count down together. I have a cruise coming up. Where are we now? We're in almost July. Oh, Star of the Seas. I'm not sure I'm allowed to talk about when my next date is, but it's coming up soon. Needless to say, Star of the Seas will be my next ship. That is very exciting. I cannot wait for that one. But glad to have you all here. We're on Independence of the Seas, somewhere in the North Sea. We're heading to Norway. This is a 7-night Norwegian Fjords cruise. Last week, we did Northern Europe. And this week, we're going to Norway. And I'm so excited. And not just because I have to wear a jacket outside, but because it's an amazing place. And I'm not in Florida where it's super, super hot. We had some super chats before the broadcast began. I want to make sure we get to those. Hunter327. Thank you for the super chat. Wife and I are looking to try Celebrity in 2027. We're currently booked Diamond, but by the time we sail, we'll be Diamond Plus. If we book in status match once we hit Diamond Plus, can we match again, or is it one time? My understanding is you can definitely status match again. I did this when I was Diamond Plus, and then I moved over to Pinnacle, and I was able to do that. So I believe you can. I'm pretty sure we had this question actually last week, and I thought we got this answered there as well. So I think you're good on that one. KJ, thank you for the super chat. Really missing that printer now. It's great not being on a cruise ship, but it's been a while since we've been home. It's crazy. Delivery guy, thank you for the super chat. Taking my wife on a surprise 7-night Western Mediterranean ocean view balcony on Legend of the Seas, October 4th, 2026. I wanted to know what I can do to make it special. Any tips, excursions are welcome. When you're looking to sell, thank you for the super chat. When you want to celebrate something special, like a anniversary, wedding, birthday, a couple things come to mind. Number one, you could decorate your cabin. One option is to book it through Royal Caribbean. If you go to the cruise planner, there's some cabin decorations ideas. But booking a cabana, specialty restaurants, and a private shore excursion are the three things that I really think stand out the most. I think they really do make it special and a little more. You can also surprise them by upgrading the room. Tell them, no, we're in a balcony room. And then you get a suite, which is technically a balcony room because it's a kind of balcony, but I digress. Let me just double check. I just want to see if these are still before the broadcast began or after. I think these are all before still. Yeah. Okay, cool. Slew Dog, thank you for being a club member for 5 months, brother. On Adventure of the Seas, is there anywhere to get fresh juices or smoothies with drink vouchers? Hoping milkshakes in play at Johnny Rockets. Our son's going to miss not having a Vitality Spa Cafe on board. I believe you can get at least smoothies. The Windjammer has a bar. You might be able to get it there. It's the only place I can think of. But Johnny Rockets does take the diamond drink vouchers at Johnny Rockets for milkshakes. My kids have been there on Independence a lot, so I can tell you for a fact that is definitely the case. And Dad Betty, thank you for the super chat. Just here to collect some pre-stream XP. Love that. Fantastic. All right, I think it's all the super chats before the broadcast began. So we're going to move up here. Bob Dickens. Bob, thank you for the super chat, my friend. My Monday is now complete. Thanks for all you do for us. Well, thank you, Captain Bob. I appreciate you. I do appreciate also all of you guys being here because it is Monday, yes, but we're not at our usual time. It's going to be a little wonky for a couple more weeks while I'm in Europe, but I'm hopeful that maybe this is a good excuse to take a break from work. But thank you for being here. And now let's answer as many questions about Royal Caribbean as we possibly can. I've got about 40, 50 minutes or so. So let's answer as many questions as we can in that time frame. So feel free to type your questions in the chat right now. And also, once again, a big shout out to all of our super chatters, the amazing support. Let's see here. Pescatarian Gardner, thank you for being here. Appreciate that. Did I watch the Carnival Poop Cruise documentary yet? I have not. I think we'll probably say that when we get back home. I don't really watch a lot of movies on a cruise ship, but I've heard interesting things about it. I mean, the Carnival Poop Cruise documentary, to me, it's like the Tiger King thing, where it becomes like this like larger than life spectacle. And let's face it, people love to make a big deal out of bad things that happen on cruise ships. We've seen this all the time. On the one hand, I think this Poop Cruise documentary will unfortunately set off a new generation of folks who will never want to try a cruise ship simply because of it. But it is a spectacle, and I've heard that it's interesting, so I will probably be watching it. But I'm not a fan of the idea behind it. Let's put it that way. Tracy wants to know, does Royal Caribbean price match? They do, with some caveats. If you're before final payment date, it's the exact same category, and you're a resident of a country like the US or Canada, not the UK, and some other countries, you could be able to do that, yes. So, hope that answers your question there. Let's see here. Craig Hart in the house. Hello, Craig. Miss you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. 4 more days till Utopia of the Seas. Love that. Very nice. Wired for Flight. Thank you for the super chat. Or just thank you for the question, rather. We are looking for a large group for a birthday. Do you know what the size would be for the max, especially restaurants? It depends on the restaurant. Wired for Flight. Some restaurants have bigger tables than others. There's not a standard number. Generally speaking, 8 unless you're good. When you get to about 10 or so, it really depends on the restaurant. But I will also tell you that, quite frankly, they can still put you in an area together. Like if you have 20 people, they could put 2 or 3 tables near each other. But what you want to do, though, is go to the restaurant on embarkation day to verify all that. It's very, very important right there. The Teresa McChain, thank you for being a club member for 22 months. That's crazy. Monday work break. Actually, isn't this technically work for you? I mean, I don't think Becky can really be, I don't think she's never upset with you, but I mean, you're here supporting the community. And of course, I mean, I Travel, we love you guys. So this is definitely not a break. I mean, it may feel that way because it's fun, but it's, this is work. You can check this off as a work trip. Rich wants to know, can you get free Johnny Rockets milkshakes with a non-alcoholic beverage package? They're not free, but I know what you're asking for. Yes, you can. Let's see here. Mr. Craig Hart, what is your favorite port to sail away from? Southampton was way too easy to exit. What's your favorite port to sail away from? Miami is still my favorite. It's a beautiful sail away out of Miami. Pain in the butt sometimes to get down there, but I think it's got the best visuals. Tampa's a close second. I do like Tampa a lot as well. Let's see here. Clay Wood, do you think Royal Caribbean will follow what Carnival did regarding the loyalty program? So this week's podcast episode is going to talk about this. Spoiler, it's coming out on Wednesday, which reminds me, I need to do that tomorrow. Finish that up, produce it out there. I think it's too early to tell. I think that it would be naive of me to say they'll never do that. I don't think we have that kind of advanced vision of what they may or may not do. But it's obviously not a direction I would personally like. Now, granted, it doesn't mean Royal Caribbean is going to necessarily use a hatchet in the same way that Carnival did. Anything's possible. I simply don't know. I mean, really what I should be telling you is I have no earthly clue. I hope not. I think that while there are issues with the program, overcrowding, all that stuff, but I think I think these are livable problems. I don't think the problems, and I say problems, but some of the issues people have with Crown and Anchor Society today require the level of a hatchet job that Carnival did. I will also say, and of course, that's me speaking from the consumer standpoint. The real answer to your question is, will Carnival's change fundamentally make their business more profitable? If it does, I think it's almost, I hate to say an inevitability, but I think it'll be the reason why they would do it. Same reason why, again, why did Southwest Airlines start charging for bags after so many years of being like, we're never charging for bags? Because financially, every other airline is making so much more money doing it, and they just couldn't ignore that after a while. Not quite apples to apples, and I'm not saying that anything I'm saying here is just my own personal opinion. But I think at the end of the day, if Carnival's move directly leads to more revenue, significantly more, you never know, but I certainly hope not. Let's see here. We've got Boss Guy Updates. Thank you for the super chat. Royal Caribbean just said no key for Star on September 14th, 2025. I'm gonna need more. What do you mean exactly? Like, is it sold out? Because I'm not sure why they wouldn't offer the key on one particular sailing. It's not even like the first one there, so I'm not sure. Next question is from. Hey, Tony Diaz is here. Hello, Tony. Yeah, you are not. Bad news always gets attention. This is so true, guys. I mean, listen. I can sit here and rail all about how bad news but negativity is bad and all that. But let me tell you something. If I do a video about something negative, I'll get way more views than I will for a positive video. It's just, unfortunately, I'm not blaming you. I'm blaming the internet in general. Is that more people are more interested in bad news than good news, unfortunately. So yeah. Let's see here. Next question is from Augusto. Coming cruise Big San Juan, Puerto Rico. Yes. I did post about that. Looks like the port's going to be open for the big ships, which is good news. Love that. Nathan, any updates to the maintenance work being done at Independence Seas on in 13 days? I don't have any updates, but I'm on Independence right now. We're making good progress, no issues. So I wouldn't worry about Nathan, quite frankly. I mean, obviously, itinerary changes can change at any time. We all know this. I mean, but I don't have any updates beyond that. And Boss Guy again, thank you for the super chat. My 2-year-old loves watching. Can I get a hi to Norbel? Hi, Norbel. Hope you're doing well, Norbel. Hope what's good is mommy and dad are going to take you on a cruise soon. So yay! But thank you for watching, Norbel. Next question is from Campine. Comment: your internet is solid this week compared to last week. Do you know why? Because not only am I in my cabin, but there is a router, a repeater by my feet. I mean, it is like as close as humanly possible. I actually got it installed in my cabin thanks to my Royal Genie last week. I'll have an update on that tomorrow, I think. I have my review coming out of it. But not a reason to pay for the Royal Genie, but it does make a difference. And also, I'm glad to hear that, though. Very, very happy there. Let's see here. Next question is coming from Young Drizio1. I'm going on Freedom of the Seas August 4th. I'm stuck between different activities on board. It's like all the good stuff start at the same time. How do you manage that? Good question. The answer is easy. You book another cruise. Truthfully, it is a lot of times you got to pick your favorites and make hard decisions in that regard. My best advice to you is honestly, there isn't a wrong decision there. It's just a matter of, number one, look to see if that activity is being repeated. As an example, let's say there's an ice skating show you really want to see. They might be showing it later that evening or in another day. So look ahead in the calendar to see if it's being repeated or not. And then number two, obviously, is, you got to make the best of it. There have been times in which there's like a cool trivia event or a performance or something like that. And ultimately, you pick one. And I joked about it earlier, but book another cruise and try it again. So best advice I got. Next question is from Pooning 66. We'll be on Wonder of the Seas December 15th. Do you think the new beach paradise will be open? I don't know yet. Good question. When I do know, I'll post about it at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. All I've heard so far from Royal Caribbean is it'll be open in late December. Beyond that, I have no updates. So don't know, man. Let's see here. Kevin O'Brien's got a morbid question. If you pass away on board in a foreign country, does Royal Caribbean bring you back to the U.S. or leave you at the next port? This is actually, it is a morbid question, but it's actually an interesting one that actually you're not the first to ask this. Essentially, it depends on a couple different variables, but generally speaking, if you do pass away on a cruise ship, there is a morgue on cruise ships. There's a morgue somewhere on here. The morgues are more like glorified freezers, but basically they'll put the body in the morgue, bring it back to the ship to be repatriated and sent off. The exception would be, Kevin, if you were really far away from home or it was a very long sailing, like you were on a Trans-Pacific or something, and you passed away on the first stop. I believe they do have that option to fly you out at that point, but again, it's more of those. It depends, but theoretically, there is a morgue on there. So yeah. Tony Diaz, club member for 20 months. The disappointment of coming back home to peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Enjoy your cruise. Tony, I miss you, buddy. We had such a nice time with Tony and all our friends. We just wrapped up the Royal Caribbean Blog group cruise. Tony Diaz was here, and I think Tony was the most requested person on board to meet from various people. And Tony's a great guy, as long as he's had at least 3 naps in the day. Fabulous gentleman. And Tony, I enjoyed sailing with you yet again. Looking forward to October, my friend. 14-inch dubs. What part of Florida are you from? Orlando. Wife and I are thinking of moving to Fort Myers and want to know your thoughts or feelings. South Florida is a different animal than Central Florida. There's pros and cons to everything. South Florida is very expensive. Fort Myers is going to cost you way more for a house than Orlando will. But Fort Myers is, on the ocean, which is beautiful, except for the fact that if there's a hurricane, then you're kind of in. Orlando is safer because it's more inland. Nothing safe, but you know what I mean. There's pros and cons to it. The other con for Fort Myers from a cruising perspective is you're not near any cruise port. I mean, you're still got to drive to Miami or Fort Lauderdale, and that's like over Alligator Alley. That's like at least an hour or so. Tampa's a couple hours up north, Port Canaveral even further. So you're not like near anything. Not that you should pick a house because of location and proximity to a cruise terminal. But if you're looking for a house in Orlando, one of my neighbors, Realtor Ben, can hook you up. Let me know. But good luck with that. Florida's, there's pros and cons to everything in life. Let's see here. Claywood, apparently Carnival's going back to Coke. I did see that. Goodbye, Pepsi. Hello, Coca-Cola again. Dan Hancock, thank you for the super chat, buddy. Sailing an Icon. August 30th, short excursions for Royal Caribbean San Juan now that the port is operational again. You do not need any short excursions in San Juan unless we go to the beach. But I think for most people going to San Juan, Puerto Rico, they want to see Old San Juan. And Old San Juan is really easy to see on your own. Basically, your ship docks right in Old San Juan. And Old San Juan is literally built on a hill. So if you ever get lost, you just simply start walking downhill and you'll run back into the cruise ship again. So it's very easy to do a walking tour of Old San Juan. It's a very small city. The only reason you would need an excursion is if you wanted to leave Old San Juan to, go to the beach or go to El Yunque Rainforest or go to like the Bacardi factory. In my opinion, I think you should take advantage of Old San Juan. Odds are you're going to other places and beaches are a dime a dozen in the Caribbean. So it's nice to have something a little more different. And Old San Juan has such great history to it. So that's what I would do. I'd say you don't need a tour at all. Just simply walk around. Casper wants to know if you can order just 1 shot of alcohol going on my first Royal Caribbean cruise on Navigator. Yes, you can. Absolutely. Absolutely. Snoop's mom, thank you for the super chat. Back from another group cruise yesterday. Had a great time as usual. See you in October. Thanks for all you do. Back from another group cruise yesterday. Oh, I don't know the same. Why it repeated itself there. But so good to see you. It's just not a group cruise without you. And my goodness, we had so much fun last week. It was such a wonderful sailing with good friends, and we made new friends. We saw old friends. We hung out with Tony. It was great. I really had a nice week overall. And I'm so glad that you had a nice time as well. And I can't wait for October. Very excited for that one. Let's see here. Jet Wrench. Oh, wait. Try this again. Jet Wrench. 9 days of elevation. What happens if there's a hurricane? Good question. Your itinerary will change. There's a lot of possibilities. Your itinerary could be reversed. You can go in a different order. You could sail. You could skip a port. Most likely, you'll end up with an itinerary change, not a full cancellation. But Royal Caribbean will do its best, but they got to, there's a lot of factors involved with it. Kim, what are the must-visit ports in Alaska best month to go? My favorite month to go is early June, late May. It is less crowded. Prices are lower. And I feel like while there is a rain factor to it, I think it's a good blend of temperature and precipitation. It's much rainier earlier in the season, like early May, and it's significantly rainier in the late season, like around September or late August. The best ports, they're all great, but I think you'd have to say Ketchikan, Skagway, and Juneau. Not necessarily in that order, but those are 3 that come to mind, quite frankly. Let's see here. Jennifer wants to know, what's the best thing to do in Costa Maya? Please don't say stay on the ship. It is not stay on the ship. It's actually Maya Chan, Jennifer. Not booked through Royal Caribbean, so you have to Google it on your own. Maya Chan is I go there every single time, assuming it's open, because they close for hurricane season. But I love going there. Maya Chan is my number one recommendation. Next question. Are portable speakers banned? On Royal Caribbean, they're not banned on board. But they are banned on Perfect Day at Coco Key. Let's see here. Smoky Bandit, what's going on, man? Welcome. Good to see you here. Lisan, is Royal Caribbean considering improving the TV experience? Very limited options. So, Lisa, I'm gonna say something, and I hope you don't think I don't mean any personal malice or offense to you or anything like that, but I don't think it matters. Watching TV on a cruise ship to me is irrelevant. I'm not the kind of people that, like, some people are like, there is an opinion out there, and I don't go this far, Lisa, to say, you should never be on any electronic device or anything like that. Enjoy the cruise, man. Why are you on your device? I don't go that far. I do think, though, that the TV selection on the in your cabin is like the least of my concern. I rarely ever turn the TV on at all. And I think watching TV on a cruise seems a little wasteful, because I say that, but I'm on my computer all the time. And you say, what's the difference? That's a fair point. But the real answer to your question, Lisa, the real answer to your question is, it's not that Royal Caribbean doesn't necessarily want to have more channels. It's all about the monies. It costs the monies to make that. The satellite arrangements, you can't, they're using satellite coverage, and there are various rules about which channels you can have given the region of the world you're in. It's very outdated, if you ask me. But by and large, a lot of that is just it costs too much money to have more channels, and I think that's part of it. So, yeah. Next question is from... We got another super chat. Super Tom is the alter ego of Susan Westfall, by the way. And had such a good time, I had to say thanks twice. Actually, so I did I know they've changed the usernames here, I don't know, but I recognize your avatar, Susan, right over here. So I knew who you were. But thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. And I knew it's funny how they changed that, but for whatever reason, I don't know. Boss Guy updates. Thank you again for a super chat. Royal Caribbean said we had to sign a waiver for a 3-year-old in an inside cabin because there is no bed for a 3-year-old, just a loft bed and couch. Neither are safe. Thoughts? I have never heard of this before. Can I ask any of our MEI travel agents to weigh in? Why would you sign a waiver? I've never heard of that. Basically, Boss Guy, when you book any cabin, every cabin has a capacity. Like this cabin I'm in right now is 2 people is the capacity. So when you go to book it, if I go to the Teresa McChain from MEI Travel, and I say, the Teresa McChain from MEI Travel, can I book 3 people? I have 2 kids. 4 people in this cabin. She would say, no. You can't book this room. You have to book a different cabin category. But if the room is rated for 3 people or 4 people, there has to be a physical way for a bed. They can't. Royal Caribbean will not allow just be like, oh yeah, you want to put another person in there, no problem at all. There has to be like either a Pullman bed, which comes out from the ceiling, or a sofa bed, which converts to a bed. So I've never ever heard of a waiver, but I don't know if Teresa's got like insight on this one, because I've never heard of that. Teresa's never heard of a waiver for a 3-year-old. Should be a bed for each. Yeah, so exactly what I just said there. Boss Guy, who did you book your cruise through? Because this sounds a little, not fishy, but incorrect. So maybe reach out to Teresa. She can set you straight on this one. Let's see here. David, just Dave on Harmony. Almost went to bed last night. Got second wind. Went to balloon drop. Amazing Van Halen guitar solo. Then to club dancing up till 2. That's the latest. What's the latest you've ever stayed up on a cruise? Definitely later than that. I'm gonna say around 3 or so. I think I've stayed up to in a casino, maybe had a few drinks kind of night. I think maybe Mr. Tony Diaz might have been there for one of those evenings. It always seems like a great idea until you wake up the next morning and they're like, why? But right around there, give or take. Any updates on what's happening in Independence of the Seas? Hoping to get a last-minute cruise on her in October for sales back to Florida. Everything's fine. I mean, I know I posted the update about that. I mean, it is significant when there's 2 itinerary changes in a row, and there's. But I talked to the captain. It's an issue related to the turbocharger on board, which is related to the generator on board. But it's not a big deal. It's not like they lost any engines or propellers or azipods or anything like that. So I wouldn't worry too much about your cruise, quite frankly. Let's see here. Next question. Tommy K. Loved your video series, video stores rentals back in the day. With a new and smaller ship coming out in the future, what feature venue would you like to see on it? Central Park. I don't think it's possible, but I'd love to see Central Park. Let's see here. Next, I think we had some super chats catch up on here. Boss Guy updates again. Thank you for the super chat. Back to the key. They said they would not offer it on sailings that they cannot guarantee its benefits can be fully felt. I'm not saying you're. I will say this. I don't believe what whoever said that to you. I don't believe it. It's why that doesn't make any sense because they offered other sailings, but not that one. I will say this, Boss Guy. Here's what I think happened, and I don't know this for a fact. It's my guess. So from man to man, I'm assuming you're a man, but from person to person, consumer to consumer, knowing full well that I don't speak for the company, I think whoever told you that doesn't know what they're talking about. I think they either are trying to make you feel better about why they're not offering it. I think it's sold out, or there's an IT issue as to preventing from selling it. But I don't think that's true at all. There's no logical sense to it why they would not offer it on the September 14th sailing, but not some other sailing. Like, I think it's unless there's a major policy shift that has occurred that I'm unaware of. That would be A, news to me, and B, I think it's not correct. I'm not shooting the messenger. I'm just sharing my own opinion on that one. Let's see here. Dad Baddick, thank you for the super chat. Speaking of Puerto Rico, Mama Baddick really wants to go to the mall, Plaza Las Americas. Anybody have any tips or hacks? I don't have any tips at all, but I would simply say I would probably just do like Uber or a taxi ride over there. But I've never been there, so I don't have any specific recommendations. Maybe somebody in the chat can help you out, but I've got nothing for you, unfortunately. Natasha. Icon in 5 days. Got an email. Looks like excursion times booked through Royal Caribbean have been shortened by a couple hours, pushed back. So set return at exact time ship is set to leave. Is that a problem? If you book the excursion through Royal Caribbean, no, it's not a problem. If your excursion is through a third party, that's a problem. But it really is not. If you book the tour through Royal Caribbean, I wouldn't worry about it because obviously if you're a little bit late, the ship will wait for you. When we were in Rotterdam last week, something similar occurred, and people were still being brought on back right at that time. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about it if it's booked through Royal Caribbean. So let's see here. Brittany, this is my first August cruise. How's the weather during this time? Hot and humid. And when I say humid, I mean you step outside and you're like, hey, I'm sweating. I mean, it will be the sweat will be beating down your back, unless, of course, you prescribe to what my good friend Elizabeth says, which is that ladies do not sweat; they glisten. In which case, you'll be glistening quite a bit because it is extremely hot and humid, and it will rain during the day. Now, don't worry about that, Brittany. You're thinking, "Oh my goodness, it's going to rain. My cruise is ruined." In the Caribbean, in the summer, especially August, you get rain every day. It might rain for 5 minutes. It might rain for an hour. But thunderstorms in the afternoon are pretty common. In the morning, it looks nice. Clouds roll in. You get thunderstorms. Then it's clear again. And it might rain maybe twice a day. Who knows? But don't let it ruin. It won't ruin your cruise. It'll just be, a brief break, if you will. Mike wants to know, do cruise lines offer any discounts for those who may need to book 4 rooms? 4 rooms? No. In order to get a discount, you need to have a group, and that usually has at least 8 cabins. Sometimes like 6, but you'd have to be booking a pretty weird sailing for that one. But for 4 sailings, no. They'll just say, thank you, but no discount. Let's see here. The 46845. What's the best way to get from Newark Airport to Cape Liberty Cruise Port. Wondering if there was something cheaper than Uber. I think taxis might be cheaper than Uber, but every time I've ever taken a taxi out of Cape Liberty to or from, they're in the rattiest taxis you've ever seen in your life. I mean, they're just like stinky, awful old cars. There may be shuttle services. Royal Caribbean does offer a shuttle service per person. If you're traveling solo, it might be cheaper. But I always just use Lyft or Uber. One time I asked Tony Diaz to drive me, and he didn't do it, so I had to get Uber. But yeah. Let's see here. Rock D going on Wonder in December. You think the Cocoa Key Beach Club is worth the cost, and why? This is a great question. I get this question a lot. I mean, I've been there many times. It's kind of a, versus if you've never been there before, I think it is worth the cost because it's a really cool place. The restaurant alone, I think, is fantastic. It might even be worth the cost of admission because the food there is arguably just as good as any specialty restaurant, if not better, on the ship itself. Then you have the infinity pool, which is heated, which is wonderful. It's less crowded, obviously, because there's a hard capacity to the venue. I love the cabanas there. So it's pricey, but I do think it's worth it. If you've never been there, would I pay for it every single time I go? No, because it's too expensive. But if you can time a good sale, especially pre-booking it before the cruise begins, you can usually find a decent price on it, or somewhere near a decent price. And so if you do that, then yes, I do think it's worth it, especially if you've never been there before. Oops, hit my microphone. Ethan, wonder if embarkation in Southampton is pretty similar to Caribbean ports. Yeah, it's exactly the same. I've now sailed out of here 3 times, and this time it was really easy. Leave your bags at the curb. There are porters there. You go, you do the check-in, security. It's not the terminal is not like Royal Caribbean specific, but it's a very easy process. So, I would simply tell you that for your second part of your question, how early we need to take the train. The train is probably about an hour and a half or so from Waterloo Station to Southampton. Keep in mind, Ethan, the problem with the train is there is virtually no luggage storage space. So if you're going, Ethan, with you alone or you and somebody else, and you have like 2 bags each, it's fine, but you're going to be shoving your luggage every which way you can. But for a family of 4, I wouldn't do it. In fact, this time we took a car service specifically because there's no luggage storage. That train is really a commuter train. It's not meant for like vacationers with 8 pieces of luggage. So just keep that in mind as a tip. But if you're like, I've done it solo twice and it's fine. But I always thought to myself, thank goodness I got on the train first because I don't know what I would have done with my luggage otherwise. There's just no room for it. Evan Lee, sailing to Fort Lauderdale from an Atlantic cruise on Legend next year. What's the best flight home to the UK? Fort Lauderdale or Miami? You might have more options in Miami. Typically, you find more international flights out of Miami than Fort Lauderdale. That's not always the case. Depends on the airline. But I don't think you should look at either one as better or worse. Obviously, with Legend being in Port Everglades. Wait, is that true? Legend Fort. Where's Legend of the Seas sailing out of? I don't remember where Legend is. It doesn't matter. I would simply tell you that just pick whichever flight and time and price works best for you. They're very close to each other. It's about a half an hour drive one way or the other from either airport. I don't think it really matters. I'd pick the best flight and price and go from there, quite frankly. Let's see here. Kaylee, thank you for the super chat. 4 days until a 9-night cruise on Symphony of the Seas. Awesome. That's it. 9 nights on Symphony. That's unusual, but that's awesome. I love that. Thank you for the super chat. By the way, Becky Mencken from MEI Travel is here. Big shout out to Becky and her team for an amazing group cruise we just had here on the Independence. Hope you're doing well, Becky. Miss you on board. Duck Cruiser. Do you think any of the Quantum class ships will go out of Miami or Fort Lauderdale? I mean, eventually, yes. Eventually, all ships get everywhere. The question is, anytime soon. Doesn't appear that way. But it is strange. We really haven't had like Quantum class ships here in Florida. Yeah, so strange. Uh, Yeah, so as of June 28th, Honduras requiring proof of vaccination from measles. Any thoughts? I haven't heard from Royal Caribbean about this. Same. I got a communique from a very good source yesterday about this as well. But I've not seen anything yet from the cruise line, so I hesitate to post things arbitrarily, but that is something I'm looking at. Actually, I'll have, you know what? The only good thing about this being this time here, I can have Elizabeth take a look at that. Take a look at that in a second. But I'm gonna make my notes here. I do the podcast. Where's my notes? Podcast Honduras. All right, cool. Back to work. Next question is from Kelly. Update, Matt. A few weeks ago, you did a shout out to Levin to book a cruise in December. She booked it. We love that, Kelly. That's fantastic. Great news. Oh, Becky's not happy. Why does my ID look so weird? I demand a much better ID. I am an upper class resident. I'm sorry, Becky. I do have YouTube working on it right now. Let's see here. Okay, next question is from the onboard traveler. Everyone in my household has the same crown and anchor points as me, but I've been on more cruises than them. Is this a mistake? So this is an interesting question. The head of the household, basically, whoever has the highest status, you will see their status. Everyone gets their status. As an example, let me put it this way: when my daughter, who's 14, logs in her Crown and Anchor Society account, she sees my point total because living in our household, that's the point she has. To actually, which reminds me, I need to go to Loyalty Ambassador for this. To see your real point total, you would have to speak to a Loyalty Ambassador on board or call Royal Caribbean. It's kind of a nuance of the household thing where, whoever has the highest status, that status rains down on the others there. So hope that makes sense. If I put whiskey in a wine bottle and actually seal it, will it get confiscated? It doesn't even matter. It's against the rules, dude. Don't do it. The rules are there because you're paying to go on a Royal Caribbean cruise, and it doesn't matter why you want to or not. It's against the rules. Don't do it. So yeah, and you can get in serious trouble for that. So don't do it. Let's see here, Bob. If I leave on July 11th on Anthem in Alaska, is Chops worth the money? Is it that much better than the main dining room? It's a good question. Is it better than the main dining room? I mean, you can have a great steak in the main dining room, but Chops is a steak house. So really what it's about is, I think about, it's elevated cuisine. We were just I just literally had dinner in the main dining room, and tonight was French night, and we had the beef tenderloin, which is a pretty good cut of steak. It's not like, it's not filet mignon, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't bad. So really, if you're looking at a specialty restaurant, Bob, in general, whether it's Chops or any of the other ones, really, it's about just elevated food quality, the amenities, the decor, the sides. Don't look at it as like bad food versus good food. It's more like, just different levels, if you will. Next question. Real Drew J, thank you for the super chat. I don't see a message from you. Real, hold on a second. Stand by to stand by. Real Drew. I'll be on Utopia of the Seas for the 14th, on the 14th for my honeymoon. Congratulations. What are the top 3 things I should do with my wife on this cruise? My second cruise with the Royal Caribbean. Good question. How about a couples massage? You're in Utopia. Book a cabana at Perfect Day Coco Key. I'm trying to think of something that the first 2 do require a fair amount of money, I just mentioned. So I'm trying to think of something that's not that expensive. Number 3. Get matching outfits and take photos together on the Royal Promenade. That'd be fun. Thank you for the super chat. Let's see here. Ad Ibles. Sailing 76 days till Symphony. Instead of wine, can you bring sparkling grape juice? My husband doesn't drink alcohol. Yes, you're allowed to bring, in addition to wine, you're allowed to bring up to 12 bottles, cans, whatever, of non-alcoholic beverages. And sparkling grape juice is non-alcoholic. So yes, absolutely. Where is the best food on Navigator of the Seas? I really like a Local Fresh. I still like the main dining room. Jamie's Italian is fantastic on there. And of course, the Zumi, really, really good. Legend is out of Port Everglades. That's what I thought. But then I started thinking to myself, wait a minute. Miami? Yeah. Anyway, thank you. I had a brain fart over there. Brett Graham, thank you for the super chat. Bonjour. Hope that you're enjoying Indy and you had a chance to catch Perry. Jealousy Need a Coat is 100 in France today. Mon Dieu. C'est assez froid ici et j'aime beaucoup que j'ai besoin de avoir une coat, jacket. But we're having a great time. And yes, I was on the sun deck today wearing a jacket and it felt glorious. It's like, I don't know what the temperature technically is today, but I think it's been like in the 60s. Just phenomenal. I love it. And Real Drew J, thank you again. I think it's maybe an accident that you gave me 2 super chats, but thank you. You super for honeymoon on the top 3 must-dos. Yes, so the cabana, couples massage, and matching formal night photos. Next question is from Becky. Liked my impression. I thought it was pretty good. GoPro Gamer, I forgot to cash in an $80 casino ticket in May. Going back on Wonder, same ship. Do you think the ticket will also be valid? It will not. They will say very kindly that unfortunately, yeah, boy, this is why you always got to. I cash out of the casino when I leave there every night. I don't. Craig Hart will walk around, maybe not walk around, but he will have vouchers he keeps around. I cash out every night. Just I even chips. Never too careful. MNB, thank you to Becky Villarreal from MEI for helping book August 30th on Enchantment. First time booking through an agent. Love that. And first of all, it's great that Becky's helping you out there. But really the value of a good travel agent comes also as you book more cruises and they know your preferences. And it's just a, beep, bop, boop, and you're good to go. What do you think about people using eSIMs versus purchasing Wi-Fi packages? Great question. So on this cruise, I have an eSIM. I have Voom Wi-Fi. I have a AT&T roaming cruise package. I have 3 different forms of internet, only 2 of which work right now because I'm on a cruise ship. We're sailing rather. But I will say this, the eSIM is fantastic. They should be mutually exclusive because the eSIM works when you're in port and the Voom package, the Wi-Fi package, works while you're at sea. So I have both. And I think that there's value in having both a Voom package and an eSIM. So that way you're covered no matter where you are on or off. And to me, that's the right play right there. JT7783, thank you for the super chat. 4 days until Anthem of the Seas to Alaska. My first cruise. Any recommendations for ship activities? The North Star is fantastic. And if you got to see that, especially in Alaska, it's really, really pretty. So save that for the inside passage. That's why it's a sea day and you don't have to pay for it. Wait, sea day or port day is free. Port day. Strike that, reverse it. Save it for one of your port days and do that like when you're in one of the ports, like you're on Anthem, so you're going to go to, any of the ports are great. I mean, I'd say Juneau or Skagway, but definitely do North Star. Really, really good. Check out the shows in 270. If you've never been there, which you haven't, it's your first cruise, you'll love it there. So the shows in 270, and definitely don't overlook activities in general. It's very easy to look in the Royal Caribbean app and think, oh, what is that? Try them out. If they're terrible events, you can always walk out. That's something else to keep in mind. You're not locked in the room. So unless it's the escape room, then you are locked in the room. But other than that, you're free to leave. Is there French onion soup at Chops? I had that today for dinner, and it was so good. Not sure if you can answer a celebrity question, but we're sailing on Celebrity Apex April of 27. Do you know if Celebrity will also be allowed to go to Royal Beach Club, Cozumel? Yes, they will. Celebrity ships will be welcome there. So my understanding is yes. Is Rhapsody of the Seas a fun ship to go on in September? It is a fun ship to go on. I mean, Rhapsody is an older, smaller ship. So it doesn't have all the features that you'll find on a bigger ship or a newer ship. That doesn't mean it's a bad ship. It's a cruise is what you make of it. I went on Enchantment of the Seas, which is the sister ship to Rhapsody, back in January with my good friend Kenny, and we had a great time on board. You know what? Because we went in there with like, we're going to go on a cruise. We're going to enjoy hanging out, sometime in the casino, sometime in the pool, sometime in the ports of call, obviously. You know, we didn't go into it like, you know, we went to it with the right expectations, not thinking, you know, well, we were on Icon of the Seas. Let's now, you know, compare it and we're going to expect the same kind of thing. That's all. So it's all about research and understanding what the ship offers and doesn't offer. Let's see here. Megan, would you recommend the port to airport transfer through Royal Caribbean? We're cruising out of Galveston in August. Sure. It works pretty well. I mean, it may not be the most cost-effective option out there, but for a lot of people, it's just simple and can't argue with that. Next question is from Ronnie Bickers Jr. Ronnie, thank you for the super chat. 150 days to Grandeur, 195 to Indy. On Independence of the Seas, I'm looking to reserve Habachi, but the only thing that shows is the Izumi Sushi lunch on the app. Is it full or not available yet? Probably full, I'm going to guess. Usually that's the indicator. It's either full or there's a problem in the app. But keep an eye on it, Ronnie. And even let's assume it never shows up again. No problem. When you get on board the ship, go there on embarkation day, first thing, and make your reservation. Oops. Get the microphone again. South of France, we had over 110. Mon Dieu. C'est assez chaud pour moi. That's no bueno. This is why, I'll be honest with all of you. I'm booked on Legend of the Seas inaugural out of Barcelona next summer. I got it. While I'm excited for Legend, I'm a little not scared, not worried. I don't know. I'm not looking forward to the Mediterranean in the heart of summer because these kind of temperatures are pretty common in the Med when you get into July and August, and mostly in July. And I gotta say, I really prefer colder weather, but it'll be worth it. But let's see here. Next question. Any Star of the Seas updates? Nope, but coming out soon. So very excited for that one. Kengo, what SIM cards are ideal for the Bahamas? So what's funny is I don't use SIM cards for the Caribbean. I've just found it not very cost effective, given that there's not usually too many ports. And if you're ever visiting a port in Mexico, then that's included in most U.S. plans. There are a number of plans that are out there. Orange is one, but there's another one. Oh goodness, Craig, I'm sure you remember the name of it. There's is it Sky Sim, eSky, something like that. That's very helpful, Matt. I know. Was it Sky Sim, eSim, something like that. Nope, definitely not. Gigsky. I think I don't have any affiliation with them, but Gigsky, I believe, is IT. Might be a good one. Let's see here. Joseph, is it possible to scope out a travel agency's group rates on the internet on my own? Yes, actually. I can't speak for other agencies, but MEI Travel does have a website to do exactly that. Now, Becky, correct me if I'm wrong. You can't necessarily like, hey, show me all the group rates. If that is there, Becky, that's news to me. But what you can do, Joseph, is if you go to bookmeicruise.com, book Mike Echo India cruise.com, book meicruise.com. The rates you see there are inclusive of group rates. So that way you really can compare apples to apples compared to what Royal Caribbean is offering or some other agency. So hopefully that makes sense there. Chris Casebeard, thank you for the super chat, my friend. What is your favorite excursion to Ketchikan? I got a link for you, my friend. Something better than that. Hold on. Stand by. I have a list of awesome shore excursions in Alaska. And I'm going to post it in the chat because it's going to do a much better job. There it is. Recommended tours for each port. Copy link. Live streaming. Hold on. It is in the chat now. So, Chris, check out the link in the chat I just posted. But that will give you a list of tours in every port, including Ketchikan. Justin Oken from MEI Travel is here. Hello, Justin. It's good to see you. Of course, when I see Justin Oken, all I think about is the hardest working man. Well, that's not true. I mean, there's a lot of hard workers at MEI, but this guy literally dropped everything. He might have dropped his coffee cup to go do a lead that came in for people who wanted to book a cruise when we were on Ovation of the Seas. So, hard worker right there. Love that. Going on our first cruise, end of August. What's the best thing to do in case of seasickness? Bonine is what I recommend. I have that. It works wonders. You can get it at home from your local pharmacy. There's no prescription required. Bonine. You can actually get it on Amazon, in fact. Let's see here. November 12th on Adventure with Unlimited Dining. Can you only make reservations for Izumi or Chef's Table? When will they open the other restaurant for reservations? Good question. Soon. You just got to keep an eye out for it, unfortunately. But worst case, you can always book it on board the ship. The online booking for restaurant reservations is very useful and very helpful, but there are extra reservations when you get on board. I've seen it many a time in which I've, leading up to the cruise, there's no more reservations left, and then you get on board the ship and there are more. The only exception is Railway on Utopia. Then that one really does sell out, but I think you'll be okay. Looking to book Europe for 2027. Is it out or not released? It is not released yet. That'll be coming this fall. Okay, Matt recommends Aerolo for the Caribbean. I know I mentioned Gigsky earlier. I mean, they're fine. Gigsky is just, as Craig says, Gigsky is okay. I just use Aerolo in Europe and had no issue. There you go. So in this situation, I defer to Craig. He's the expert on this. So Aerolo might be the best option there. I've not used them personally, but just saying. But the thing about eSIMs, and this goes back to this question here, and Robin's a good question. eSIMs do not work on the cruise ship. So they work when you're in port, but when you're on the ship and the ship sails away, it doesn't work anymore. So something to keep in mind. Next question is from Ray and Nancy Cruisers. Thank you for the super chat. Hey, Matt, just saying thanks. Well, thank you. Appreciate you very much. Very much appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat. Did you have all your mail forwarded to Europe? I did not. We just have a giant. We just have a mail hold at home, and I am sure when we get home, they're gonna bring like a mail, literally like a truck, a dolly full of it over. Yeah, hopefully there's nothing too important in there, but no. And with this thing, the funny thing is, I don't know, it's funny, amusing, whatever. I still have another 2 weeks left in Europe. So yeah. Dr. Tony Diaz now claiming that seasickness cure is more liquor. I'm not sure that's been verified medical advice there, friend. Are Mexico ports like Ensenada safe for self-led excursions with family and children? They can be. I would say some ports are better for wandering versus other ports. I've taken my kids on tours in Cabo. I went to Ensenada for the very first time recently. I think it really, like any port in the world, you need to do research and you need to have a plan. And some ports are very conducive for wandering, and other ports maybe not so much. Ensenada is not a wandering port. It's not let's just get off the ship and see where it takes us. Probably not a good idea for that port, because there are some areas that aren't so great, but there are some areas that are absolutely beautiful. And so it's a matter of, I think, planning ahead. Other ports are indeed, I think, very conducive to wandering. Cozumel is one, I think, quite frankly. I think it's a very easy one to wander around in. San Juan, Puerto Rico. We were just in Copenhagen, Oslo. Very easy ports to wander around in. So it just depends on the port. So I hate to always say, this, I know you asked about Ensenada and Cabo, But I will tell you that it behooves you in general to have a good plan. If you're a new cruiser or you haven't cruised that much, less than 5 or so, or you're new to that port, but I do this exactly when I go to a new port that I've not been to before. Plan, research, find things to do. I think that's really important right there. All right, got only a couple more minutes left here, and then I got to head on out of here. So, half amazing. Thank you for the super chat. Can you now make a video about your favorite things about suites? Any news on Legend? My favorite things about suites. Yes, I should do that actually, because I did a video kind of poo-pooing suites. Not poo-pooing them, just the perks I didn't think were that great. All right. Well, since Jenna's always yelling at me to do new videos anyway. My favorite video idea. Things about suites. Got it. It's on the list. And that's not coming out tomorrow, but it'll be here eventually. Any news on Legend of the Seas? No news. With Star of the Seas coming out soon, you don't expect any Legend of the Seas news until probably like late this year, early next year, I would imagine. And Brittany, thank you for the super chat. 134 days to Utopia. What's an appropriate tip for 2 drinks from a bar? We never know what to leave. Good question. $1 or $2. That's what I tip. Number one, when you purchase a drink on Royal Caribbean, there's an automatic 18% gratuity, so keep that in mind. But I usually tip $1 or $2. For 2 drinks, I would still only maybe $1 or $2. Is my going rate personally. I'm not the arbiter of what you should or shouldn't tip, but that's what I tip. So, but for 2 drinks, $1 or $2. And Kenga, thank you for the super chat. Thanks for all your help, Matt. Great advice for our first ever cruise on this October. Wait, no. First ever cruise on Oasis this October. Thank you for the super chat. I hope you have a great time on it. And you got plenty more time to plan things out here, but I'm glad to be able to be here and give you some answers right there. Celeste, going on Ovation in August. How is the embarkation process in LA compared to Florida? Is there a line for Diamond members? There's not a line for Diamond members. There's not even one in Florida anyway, so that doesn't matter. They got rid of that, Celeste, back after COVID. They got rid of the Diamond lines and all that. But the process was easy when I was there on Ovation. Now, granted, that's not really a fair assessment because that was a media sailing and there weren't even 2,000 people on that ship. So, but it was better than I remember it for what it's worth. And I've heard better things in general from other cruisers. I often joke or yell at the fact that the LA embarkation process is the worst. But I think it has gotten better. But definitely don't expect it to be as efficient as Florida. It's just, for whatever reason, they just don't understand why or how to do it the same way over there. What is up with the map on the mirror? Craig, I want to make sure you understand where in the world the different continents are. Tony, tell your genie she can stop trying to look for me. I no longer have genie services, my friend. I am like you, a common man with common problems and nobody to help bring me coffee in the morning, unless it's my kids. So, let's see here. My question is, did he bring the printer and put it on the floor? Yes, I did, but we don't have time to show it for you because we're running out of time here, guys. I got to head on out of here because we got to, what am I doing tonight? Well, I got some more work to do. But then maybe going down to the casino. Got to earn my Prime status. So, thank you all for joining us here, though. Next week, where will I be? We'll be doing this again next week in Copenhagen. So have a little different view. But thank you for joining us here. I'm glad the internet worked much better today. The key was doing it, I guess, in my cabin. But appreciate each and every one of you being here. Thank you for the amazing support, super chats. You guys are fantastic. I love you guys. Very, very kind. And hope you all have a great week. And stay tuned for some more information updates over at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. Until then, have a great week, everybody. Stay safe out there. Do something fun. And we'll talk again very soon right here on YouTube. Goodbye, everybody. Good night, Samantha.